am so sorry to have made such a noisy fuss. It is a reflex, a common, uncontrollable biological necessity. We barely give it a second thought, treating it as little more than a mild physical inconvenience. But what if that brief, explosive expulsion of air was not just an allergy attack? What if for one frantic, high-pressure moment, it was the most dangerous thing you could ever do? We've all been conditioned to say, "God bless you." But why? Because once upon a time, a common sneeze was believed to be a ticket straight to the afterlife. To understand the sheer terror of the sneeze, we must go back to the year 600 AD. Rome was being ravaged by the plague of Justinian, an epidemic so devastating that the symptom of a sudden, violent sneeze was often one of the first and most visible signs the disease had taken hold. Faced with mass death, Pope Gregory I, Gregory the Great, desperately created a spiritual defense. The belief at the time was twofold and catastrophic. First, that the soul resided close to the head, and a violent sneeze could literally expel the soul, leaving the body empty and deceased. Second, and perhaps more commonly, the brief, involuntary closing of the eyes was thought to be an instant of vulnerability, a fraction of a second, when evil spirits, or worse, the plague itself, could enter the defenseless body. To combat this spiritual catastrophe, Pope Gregory decreed the immediate prayer, "God bless you." It was an instant shield, a spiritual defibrillator whispered in a moment of near-death panic. The modern version of this life or death scenario is purely biological, leading to the incredibly popular myth that a sneeze is so high pressure that your heart briefly stops beating. Let's be clear, your heart does not stop. What actually happens is a dramatic but harmless fluctuation. When you take that massive, sudden gulp of air before the sneeze, the pressure in your chest cavity skyrockets. This temporary pressure surge briefly restricts blood flow, causing a minuscule and temporary dip in your heart rate. It's an electrical hiccup, not a cardiac arrest. Your cardiovascular system is fine. The real physical danger of a sneeze isn't to your heart, but to your speed. A sneeze is designed to clear your airways, and it does so with terrifying efficiency. The air from a powerful sneeze can travel up to 100 miles per hour. That's faster than a cheetah. This blinding speed, while a fantastic defense mechanism against dust and pathogens, perfectly captures the violent, explosive energy that ancient cultures feared the notion that such an intense physical action must come with a severe spiritual cost. This desire to protect the sneezer is a global phenomenon. It's not just a Western custom. Every culture has its own tiny, verbal shield. In German-speaking countries, they don't ask for a blessing, they demand Gesundheit, a simple wish for health. In Hindi, the response is often Jio, which means live, a direct and clear rebuttal to the medieval notion of sudden death. Interestingly, cultures like the Chinese and Japanese often have no verbal response at all, because historically, a sneeze wasn't a death omen, but a sign that someone was talking about you elsewhere. The premise that you die when you sneeze, ridiculous as it sounds today, highlights a profound human trait: our desperate need to find meaning in our own biological frailty. This tiny, uncontrollable reflex, this rush of air, was a symbol of vulnerability that terrified a plague-ridden world. We don't say "God bless you" because we fear a pressure drop. We say it because, over 1,400 years ago, a terrified populace needed a magical word to protect a dying person. It's a testament to the enduring power of belief, transforming a simple sneeze into a moment of spectacular, fatal consequence. The timing, the direction, the context, it was all an omen to be deciphered. If a general was planning a battle and someone sneezed to the right, it was a sign of divine approval, a green light from the heavens to advance. A sneeze to the left, however, was a dire warning of impending failure. The Romans would often say, "Jupiter, preserve you," not to shield the soul, but to acknowledge the god's sudden communication. It was an interruption from the divine, a moment where the veil between the mortal and the immortal was briefly torn by a sudden achoo. In this world, holding in a sneeze wasn't just impolite, it was ignoring destiny. This intense desire to manage the spiritual implications of a sneeze wasn't just about omens. The fear of the soul escaping, which Pope Gregory later capitalized on, was an almost universal terror. In some cultures, the response wasn't a blessing, but an immediate, frantic action. It was believed that shouting the sneezer's name at the moment of expulsion would magically anchor the soul to the body, preventing it from being snatched by opportunistic demons or wandering ghosts. Imagine the panic, not a gentle bless you, but a sharp, sudden shout of your name as a lifeline to the mortal coil. But perhaps the strangest parts of this story aren't spiritual, but biological. We think of sneezes as being triggered by dust or pollen, but the body's wiring can get bizarrely crossed. Take, for instance, the photic sneeze reflex. An estimated 18 to 35% of the population is genetically programmed to sneeze when suddenly exposed to bright light. Scientists have even given it a fittingly ridiculous acronym, ACHAOO, which stands for Autosomal Dominant Compelling Helio-Ophthalmic Outburst Syndrome. The leading theory is a case of crossed wires in the brain. The trigeminal nerve, which detects irritants in your nose, lies right next to the optic nerve. When the optic nerve is overwhelmed by a sudden blast of sunlight, the brain seems to misinterpret some of that intense signal as a nasal irritation, and it fires the sneeze command. And it doesn't stop with light. Some people suffer from gustatory rhinitis, a condition where eating, particularly spicy food, can trigger a sneezing fit. Still, others experience something called snatiation, a portmanteau of sneeze and satiation, where they sneeze uncontrollably simply from having a very full stomach. It seems to be a genetic trait, a bizarre reflex with no clear purpose other than to remind us how mysterious our own bodies can be. Given this incredible power and strange wiring, what happens when you try to stop it? We've all done it, pinching our nose in a quiet room. Medically speaking, this is a terrible idea. That 100 mile/hour force has to go somewhere. When you stifle a sneeze, the pressure is redirected inward. This can cause a range of injuries, from minor to severe. People have burst blood vessels in their eyes and nose, ruptured their eardrums, and even fractured ribs. In very rare and extreme cases, that redirected pressure has been known to cause throat damage and even rupture a brain aneurysm, a life-threatening event. It's a stark reminder that this mild physical inconvenience is, in fact, a violent biological event that our body needs to release. So, from a divine prophecy in ancient Greece to a genetic quirk that makes us sneeze at the sun, this simple reflex is a microcosm of human history. It reflects our deepest fears of mortality, our search for meaning in the unknown, and the beautiful, strange complexity of our own biology. The next time you hear a sneeze and offer a blessing, remember what you're truly doing. You're participating in a ritual thousands of years in the making, acknowledging a divine omen, shielding a vulnerable soul, and respecting a biological force too powerful to contain. That's why doctors warn against holding the sneeze. When you block a sneeze, the pressure that should escape outward is forced back through your sinuses and chest cavity. In that instant, air pressure inside your head can spike to dangerous levels. The result? Burst blood vessels in your eyes or nose, ruptured eardrums, and in extreme cases, even throat damage or brain aneurysms. So the polite thing to do in a quiet room? It might just be the most dangerous thing for your body. Let it out, always. Science also shows that you can't really control a sneeze, but you can reduce its triggers. Keep your nasal passages hydrated, avoid sudden bursts of sunlight if you have photic sneeze reflex, and go easy on spicy food if it sets off your sinuses. Humidity, clean air, and calm breathing, those are your body's best allies against unnecessary sneezing. And maybe that's why sneezing has always fascinated us. It's both mechanical and mysterious. A sneeze connects your biology to your ancestors, from divine omens to genetic reflexes. A simple act that reminds us how fragile, powerful, and beautifully complex the human body truly is. And that, my friends, is the most profound sneeze in history. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I need to find a tissue. And if you want to keep exploring the symbols, secrets, and stories that connect us all, welcome to ZeroVerse.